Hey everyone, this is Devney Ayers, and I am giving you my presentation for my mind map and affinity diagram version 2.0. So right here you have the YouTube link where you're going to find my screencast, so we're just going to leave that slide here for now, and when I'm done I will put the link and upload it. So introduction. So we're going to be talking a little bit about whole systems change, and that gets everyone involved in the change process, and people feel more appreciated because of that. And today you're going to get to learn about a ton of different ways of making change a little bit easier for people. So we're going to learn about appreciative inquiry, future search, open space, graphic facilitation, SHARX, conversation cafe, peer spirit circling, whole systems, and rapid results. I was appreciative inquiry, future search, open space, graphic facilitation, and SHARX. And then the ones that I chose were interesting were conversation cafe, peer spirit circling, rapid results, and whole systems. The reason why this is so important is because it's better to be able to focus on the problem than just complaining about it. So anyone can make a complaint about something, but if you come up with a solution, those are the ones that really help change in the company. So this is just a silly photo of William the Slater from Ugly Betty, just saying I could make an effort to be liked. And I think for some supervisors, that's something that they might want to work on if they want to help in the change process, is be a little bit more approachable. So how I did my affinity diagram. So I basically used Microsoft Word, and I started, what I did is I just went in the textbook, the change handbook, and I started taking notes, just anything I found important on each of the different theories we were given. And then from there, I divided it into the 6 characteristics, which is system, purpose, journey, evidence, values, principles, and methods. Excuse me. And then I looked for similarities in each of the processes, and so how it related. So these were my expectations at the beginning of this assignment. So on the left, you see I look like Maddie Ziegler. My eyes are bugging out of my head, and I'm a little nervous. I was like, what's going on? But then by the end of this assignment, especially round 2, I'm like Ari Gold, and I'm like, I got this. So this is how I first started my affinity diagram. I took notes. So this is just a screenshot of my Microsoft Word, and I literally just typed in appreciative inquiry and like everything. What is it? What is it used for? How does it work, etc. And I just typed that in. So for each of the different theories we were given, I wrote that. So I think maybe it's 20 pages of notes, something like that. So now my last step, what I did is I took all of the results I found from the previous slides and I put them into the design elements, the 6 design elements. So if I go back here, you see like here I have for the use for complex problems, that's system and purpose. So when I did my last step of my affinity diagram, what I did was for under system, I would put use for complex problems, and I put open space technology, SHARX, whole system, and appreciative inquiry. And then I did the exact same thing for purpose. So I'd have it twice on my mind map. And that's how I was able to do things. So that's how my mind works. This is how I did my affinity diagram. Even though it's not the typical post-it notes, it's the digital version, and it really worked well for me. So my mind map is I took all those categories, and I made a graphic representation of this. And I literally took word for word what I had on my affinity diagram and put it into a mind map. So when I first started my mind map, I was doing my mind map and I was using, I did it on paper. I did it on paper, and that was fine, and it was really good for the first part. But then I decided to step it up a notch, and I decided to use Simple Mind Pro, which is an app on a phone and also a computer program, where I could do my mind map. And it actually was a lot easier to do it copied from a piece of paper. but to try to do it just in my head to the computer would be just too confusing for me. So with the system is basically like what is the best method to use and any of the information you need to know, like who, what, where, all those kinds of things. And what I learned is that there's so many different methods so that each of these methods can meet a specific need of a company. And also, some could be used for small changes, some could be used for global changes, some could be used for just getting everyone to cooperate and fix a company problem. There's so many different things that could be done. Excuse me. And it's important because you need to be adequately prepared in order to know where you're going. And you need to be able to know when and when not to use this based on the participants who are available. So purpose. Here we have in the gold is my mind map of the purpose. And so purpose basically asks why and how is the result that you're going to have using one change theory, why is it going to be better than a different one? And then what are the results you were going to expect, and how would you define the failure? So that's what the purpose of this is. And it's really cool because there's so many different ways to get to that intended result. So it's very flexible, and it can really work with everyone. There's probably something in here for every single person to be able to relate to. And then you need to be able to know your destination in order to get there. Excuse me. Journey. So that's in the green. And the steps in the process. So that's like how much time it's going to take. Because you need to know that going in so you can plan properly. And there's different settings that you have. The casual settings, like some is just in a circle with a talking stick, and some are in really formal board meeting type settings. And some of these are really short and intense meetings, and some of them are very long and drawn out. But it's important because you need to know what you're doing. You can't just go in there and hope for the best. You have to have a plan. So, excuse me. Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. So, for example, in Journey, if you look at the top, 3 different things that deal with action planning would be rapid results, charrettes, and future search. So, you can just kind of see the way I basically took everything from my Affinity diagram and literally word for word wrote it into this mind map software. Excuse me. So evidence. So that's going to be in the gold here, and that's basically what is my experience with this method and the theory and the research and any examples of success that they've had. So I realize that I really don't have any actual experience with these methods, but I've learned a lot from it. But I know it's really important because you need to know why things fail so you don't make those same mistakes again. And also, I learned the evidence that I do have some familiarity with peer spirit circling and the conversation cafe because they use a talking stick, and that's what you teach, when you're working with students who are really little. Whoever has the talking stick or the talking object is the one that gets to talk. I don't use it now, but I have a little bit of familiarity with it, and I think a lot of people who would come in and be clients of ours probably would have had an experience like that somewhere in their schooling. Values. So the values are basically like what are the rules that guide this method and what are my beliefs that I bring to this. So I realize that almost every single one of these different methods and theories, they all want to bring people together. They all want to find a common ground and make things better and have a shared vision so that it's not so fractured. And what's really important is because I need to know, like, ethically, like, is there something I'm unwilling to do? Because that way I will not use that strategy. And also, just does it go against my values? But also, does it go against the company's values, the company that we're working for? If I am giving, if I'm giving them a, one type of thing, and they're like, well, we can't do that because of the religious beliefs of this company, well, then I understand that, but it's up to me as a practitioner to be able to go in and, do the research and find out what the company's value and culture is. That way I know when I'm bringing to the table to show them what could be helpful. Excuse me. Model. And so basically this is just describing it so everyone can understand it. And this kind of brings me back to the teaching, because, you know, in teaching autism, there's so many different acronyms and words, and, you know, you talk to people about it and they have no idea, because, you know, I use these words every day, but a lot of people don't. So it's really important to make it simple so that every single person can understand. And I think these mind maps are really good because it actually visually represents what I was thinking, and I could probably present this to future clients and say, this is what I'm thinking about us doing. You know, here are some of the reasons why, you know, check it out, let me know what you think. But it's so important to have things simplified, but not to make someone feel stupid, but just to basically realize that our clients don't know the organization development jargon. They probably won't have any idea. So what I was always taught in my teaching classes is when you write a lesson, you need to be able to write it and make it so clear that a stranger off the street could come in, open up your lesson book, read your lesson, and execute it exactly the way it was supposed to be done. And so that's how clear we want to make sure things are when we do this. Excuse me. Ta-da! So this is my completed affinity diagram. So, my completed mind map. So with this, it's really hard to see, which is why I kind of screenshotted each section, because that's a lot to fit on one page, but you can just see all the different like patterns and things, and just how my mind works with things. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this is just basically how these tools can be used. So the biggest thing for me is to make it accessible to everyone. So what's nice is that there's the computer software to do the affinity diagram, which is I used Microsoft Word. Other people have used Trello, but also you can just use sticky notes, which is really nice because it's low tech, so it's like excuse me, it's non-threatening. Like anyone can do that. And also with mind map, you know, you can use a pen and paper. Or you can go in and do a really cool thing with like the Simple Mind Pro, which is like the app that I use, but you don't have to. And I think what's really important with all of these tools is that the whole purpose is just to bring people together. And, you know, if there's rifts in the company, the idea is just to stop that and to get everyone to work as a team. And the best practice I felt for the affinity diagram was to just really think of it like I was in science class again, and going through and finding the common themes and the different things, and just doing bullet points and categories. And then how I made my mind map was I literally wrote what I had in my affinity diagram and put it in a picture form. So that's my best practice. I don't know, you know, someone else might have something different. So, which should I choose? If I had to choose any of them, I would do Conversation Cafe or Rapid Results, because sitting in meetings is very challenging, and a lot of times, you know, you go to a meeting and it could have either been sent in an email or said in 10 minutes instead of 2 hours. So my goal as an OD professional is to make meetings fun and exciting and not boring. So when I do things, I try to think of, like, put myself as the audience. Like, am I going to be able to sit through this? So that is one of my huge goals, is to make it purposeful for everyone to really want to come and learn and participate. So conclusion. So I realized that all these design elements are so similar. And when I was first reading it, I felt like I was playing that game of telephone where, you know, there's just a tiny little twist, and then it's suddenly different, and it's called something different. But what's really cool about that is it's adaptable. And so I was really confused at first. There was a lot of information, like overwhelming. But once I figured out my game plan and I decided, okay, I'm just going to make it into categories, I got my brain, I wrapped around it, and I think I rocked it. I'm pretty excited. So I'm glad I was able to stretch my brain. And I think that was really good. So here's just some references. And then here's the appendix, and this is the last part, which has all the information of my affinity diagram. So thank you so much for listening.